angels, it's Hailey Reese, and welcome to or welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so grateful that you are here, and I hope that you are having an absolutely magical morning, afternoon, or night, whatever it is for you when this video finally reaches you. Skinwalkers. It seems as though everywhere you look on TikTok, on YouTube, or on Reddit, there are countless experiences with skinwalkers. And while I'm not entirely certain as to why there's been a rise in skinwalker encounters, I do know that it seems as though people aren't holding back on sharing their experiences. Those that come face to face with a skinwalker and live to tell the tale are sharing their terrifying experiences with these creatures. So today, by high request, I'm going to be sharing with you guys an absolutely terrifying skinwalker encounter. What's interesting about this particular encounter, though, is that nobody truly knows whether or not it was a skinwalker. There are some people who believe it was an encounter with a mimic, or even just a demon of sorts. But nonetheless, one thing is agreed upon, and that is that whatever they encountered was not human and was absolutely not of good. There are people who believe that this is more of a mimic encounter because of all of the signs that came to the forefront for her in her experience. But I want to know from you guys. Nonetheless, this is definitely an experience that gives warning as to some signs that you may recognize should you encounter a skinwalker, a mimic, or what many refer to as a demon-like creature. So with all of that being said, sit back, relax, maybe turn a light on, because today's video is about to get dark. Now, what's really creepy about a lot of these skinwalker encounters that people are sharing online is that many of them tend to happen within people's own backyards. And today's experience is absolutely no exception. It's titled "The Skinwalker in My Backyard." This happened a few years ago and haunts me every single night. I'm not a spiritual person, at least not before this, and I really didn't believe any of the paranormal stuff I'd read online. But what happened to me was terrifying enough that I've spent a long time questioning all the things I was certain I knew. I live in a small town in northern Arizona. My family's house sits on several acres of land, and we're pretty isolated from the rest of the community. There's a thick forest behind the house, and beyond that, just more woods and desert. I grew up hunting and hiking around here, so I'm no stranger to the wilderness and typically know what to expect. It started one late summer evening. I was out in the backyard, just finishing up some work on the garden, when I noticed something odd near the tree line. At first, I thought it was just my imagination. It was getting dark, but the light was still there, that little hue right before the sunset. And so I saw it again, a figure standing perfectly still, just at the edge of the trees. It was tall, unnaturally tall, and almost too still. It didn't move, it just stood there, watching me. I wasn't scared at first. I thought maybe it was a person, but there was no one else around for miles, so the more I thought about that, it just didn't make sense. I shouted out, thinking it was one of my neighbors messing around. But whatever it was, it didn't respond. Then it did something that chilled me to my core. It turned its head, but not like a human would. It was a smooth, unnatural motion, almost like its neck was too long, like something was twisting in the wrong direction. I froze. My gut told me to go inside, but for some reason, I couldn't move. My heart was pounding, and my body felt stuck in place. But then it called. It was the voice of a woman, but it was wrong. It sounded like someone was desperately trying to imitate a voice they had heard, but it was distorted, garbled. It sounded like a mix between someone crying for help and a shrill, animal-like screech. The worst part was that in a way, it sounded like my mother, but off, like a terrible mimicry, something that didn't quite capture the warmth of her human voice. I knew instantly that something was horribly wrong. I turned to run inside, but as I did, I heard it again, closer this time, and now it was walking. The footsteps were heavy, too heavy for a person. They were slow, methodical, dragging. Each step was deliberate. I could feel it, like it was following me. I got to the back door and yanked it open, heart racing. As I stepped inside, I glanced back, and that's when I saw it. It was standing right at the edge of the yard, but this time I saw its face. Its eyes were huge, unnaturally large, and they glowed faintly in the dark, reflecting the fading light. But the face was wrong. Its features were human, but distorted, twisted. Its mouth too wide, unnaturally stretching across its face, like something was trying to fit into a form it couldn't quite master. It didn't blink. It just stared, its body now hunched and almost animal-like. It made another noise, a rasping breath that sounded like it was choking. I slammed the door shut and bolted every lock. I didn't go back outside for hours. That night, I kept hearing strange sounds, scratching at the walls, tapping at the windows. I tried to convince myself it was just the wind, but there was something about it that I knew wasn't natural. And then, around 2 a.m., I heard the most horrifying sound, the distinct sound of hoofs scraping against the ground, right outside. I cautiously peeked out the window, and what I saw makes me sick. It was walking on all fours now, its body contorted, as if it was no longer pretending to be a human. But it wasn't just any animal. Its skin was stretched out, like it was wearing someone else's skin. The eyes were still there and glowing in the dark, but now they were looking right at me. I could feel it staring at me, even from the window. I stayed inside that night, too terrified to even sleep. The sounds didn't stop. It paced around the house, moving too quickly to be anything normal. I could hear it scratching at the walls, and once I could swear I could hear it mimicking my voice, calling me from just outside the door. The next morning, when I finally dared go outside, I found fresh tracks around the house. But there were large, human-like footprints at first that soon turned into something clawed, animal-like tracks leading back to the forest. That thing was real, and it was still out there. I haven't told anyone about what happened that night because I don't know what they would say. I know how it sounds, but I can't shake the feeling that what I saw wasn't an animal. It was something dark, something that knew how to scare me, and it made me feel completely helpless. Unless you've experienced it, you'll never understand it. I know you'll probably think this is another thing online that isn't real, but it is. And since then, I've heard other things out in those woods. Screeching sounds, footsteps when no one's there, and sometimes I hear someone calling my name. It's like the more time it spends around me, the better it's getting at mimicking my voice. I don't know why it feels the need to do it, but it can't be for anything good. I don't know if it was a skinwalker or something else entirely. You can let me know. But whatever it wasn't human, and it wasn't like any animal I'd ever seen. And it's still out there, watching, waiting. Who knows how many more there are, and who knows how many of you need this warning. I have heard many of times that when people encounter any sort of creature or entity that's trying to impersonate a human or someone that they know, there are little things that are telling, one of which being that the features may be trying to be human like, but are unnatural in doing so. Like they mentioned in this experience, the eyes could be bigger, the smile unnaturally wide, the teeth a little too sharp. Many people claim that if you find something to be off in the voice you hear calling for you or in whatever is standing in front of you, to take that warning and run. Even when people have had experiences with mimics that are able to perfectly replicate the voice, many people have claimed that the tone or even the warmth in the voice is entirely off from the person in which they're mimicking. So if you feel that way, trust your gut and intuition. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, there's a real debate as to whether or not this was a skinwalker, a mimic, a demon, or perhaps just some weird, unnatural animal. So I want to know from you guys, what do you think it was that this individual encountered in their backyard? And what do you think they would do? Have you ever had an experience like this? And if so, would you feel comfortable sharing it with all of us? I would absolutely love to hear all of your experiences, comments, thoughts, and theories down in the comment section below. And that is it for today's video. If you guys are new to my channel or you are just not yet subscribed, but you do enjoy my content, I would absolutely love it if you would go ahead and click that subscribe button. I'm uploading a new video every single day from now until the end of the year, and I would love nothing more than for you to join me every single day. And if you did enjoy this video, I would super appreciate it if you would give this video a big thumbs up so that I know that you did enjoy it. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness. And until tomorrow, I love you. Bye, guys.